let's see what are primitive and non-primitive data types. A data type is a classification of data, which can store a specific type of information. Data types are primarily used in computer programming, in which variables are created to store data. Each variable is assigned a data type that determines what type of data the variable may contain. The term data type and primitive data type are often used interchangeably. Primitive data types are predefined types of data, which are supported by the programming language. For example, integer, character, and string are all primitive data types. Programmers can use these data types when creating variables in their programs. For example, a programmer may create a variable called lastName, and define it as a string data type. The variable will then store data as a string of characters. Non-primitive data types are not defined by the programming language, but are instead created by the programmer. They are sometimes called reference variables, or object references, since they reference a memory location, which stores the data. In the Java programming language, non-primitive data types are simply called objects, because they are created, rather than predefined. While an object may contain any type of data, the information referenced by the object may still be stored as a primitive data type. Function types. In computer science, a type signature defines the inputs and outputs for a function, routine or method. A type signature includes at least the function name and the number of its arguments. In some programming languages, it may also specify the function's return type, the types of its arguments, or errors it may pass back. According to the example in the Java virtual machine, internal type signatures are used to identify methods and classes at the level of the virtual machine code. Pay attention to this example. In C, type signature is declared by the most commonly known function prototype. Machine data types. All data in computers, based on digital electronics, is represented as bits, alternatives 0 and 1, on the lowest level. The smallest addressable unit of data is usually a group of bits called a byte, usually an octet, which is 8 bits. The unit processed by machine code instructions is called a word, as of 2008, typically 32 or 64 bits. Most instructions interpret the word as a binary number, such that a 32-bit word can represent unsigned integer values from 0 to 232-1, or signed integer values from -231 to 231-1. Because of 2's complement, the machine object types. In computer science, an object is any entity that can be manipulated by the commands of a programming language, such as a value, computer science, variable, function, or data structure. With the later introduction of object-oriented programming, the same word, object, refers to a particular instance of a class. Pointer and reference data types. A reference is distinct from the data itself. Typically, a reference is the physical address of where the data is stored in memory or in the storage device. For this reason, a reference is often called a pointer or address, and is said to point to the data. However, a reference may also be the offset, difference, between the datum's address and some fixed base address, or an index into an array. Final one of classes of data type is primitive data types. Primitive data type can refer to either A basic type is a data type provided by a programming language as a basic building block. Most languages allow more complicated composite types to be recursively constructed starting from basic types. A built-in type is a data type for which the programming language provides built-in support. In most programming languages, all basic data types are built in. In addition, many languages also provide a set of composite data types. Opinions vary as to whether a built-in type that is not basic should be considered primitive. Depending on the language and its implementation, primitive data types may or may not have a one-to-one correspondence with objects in the computer's memory. However, one usually expects operations on basic primitive data types to be the fastest language constructs there are. Integer addition, for example, can be performed as a single machine instruction, and some processors offer specific instructions to process sequences of characters with a single instruction.